Hello guys, welcome back. I'm Eloise. So today we're going to go through a handful of samples that I've had for months. I've tested them, I've sprayed them, I've had them on skin. So they're not first impressions, but they're certainly not in-depth reviews of the fragrances. A lot of them you guys may have heard about. They've gotten some hype and some talk, and we're going to test them out today, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions. So let's dive in. So the first one is Xerjoff's Ivory Root. And Ivory Root is part of Xerjoff's collection where they withhold the notes of the fragrance. But Ivory Root has been described as a vanilla fragrance and has actually appeared in a lot of reviewers' lists for vanilla fragrances. So without knowing the exact notes here, what I get from Ivory Root is a spiced vanilla that opens up like quite peppery. And I do get vanilla, and then it gets a little ambery. And I've tried this a few times on skin. I have to be honest, I am not a fan of this fragrance. I'm actually having a hard time finding a Xerjoff that I like. I caved into the hype with La Capitale, and it's just too, the composition is just too weird. It's like a fruit with leather, and the way it's combined, it just makes absolutely like no sense to me. But that's besides the point. So this one, it bothered me from the opening. It opens up with like this zesty overdose of pepper, and I get the vanilla behind the pepper, but the pepper is just so overdone. It seems like it's not even congruent with the vanilla in the fragrance. And then after a few minutes, it gets a little ambery, but even when it dries down, it's just this like overdose of pepper, and it doesn't really mix well with the vanilla. If I want something that's a spiced vanilla, that's kind of peppery, I would go for Nichané's Ani over this, for sure. And I'm not even that crazy about that fragrance. So this one to me is trying to be an ambery vanilla, and then it has all this like pepper on top that doesn't fit, at least in my opinion. I would rather wear Amouage's material, which is a nice woody ambery vanilla that's cozy. This one just seems like it has notes that are incongruent with one another. I'm just not a fan, I guess. So that's Xerjoff's Ivory Root. But the second one I do like, and this is Andy Tauer's A Coeur de Désert. I hope I said that correctly. So this one I think was released in 2015 or 2016, and it has a predecessor, L'air de Désert Marocain, which I think was released in 2005 or 2006. And Tauer fragrances are like uber niche, and I feel like there's almost like a cult following. And I think the L'air de Désert Marocain is touted by many as like one of the best amber fragrances. So that one and this one are both woody oriental fragrances. They both share a lot of notes, but this one is an extrait de parfum, and L'air de Désert Marocain is an eau de toilette intense, I think is what it's called. But I think they share a lot of notes. I haven't smelled that one though. But I've been testing this one out a lot, and I'm really liking it. I think I'm gonna get a bottle of this one. So this opens up really aromatic to me. I think there's coriander and cumin in here, and I get a little incense. I'm not sure if there is incense, but I get incense in the opening. And after it starts to dry down is when this becomes like really ambery, and it's really woody, and it's dense, and it's deep. This is really nice. And Coeur de Désert means in the heart of the desert. So I feel like it takes me to a spice market. Not that I've ever been to a spice market, but I'm envisioning, or the fragrance is giving me the feeling of a spice market and like a wooden chest, like an old wooden chest and a spice market. It's a very, very nice amber fragrance. I really like this. And I've been into ambery fragrances lately. I just recently got Rania J's Ambre Loup, which is a really smoky take on amber. It's deep and dark, and that one's really nice too. That one is so smoky, it almost makes this one seem a little lighter and airier. There's like an airy aromatic quality to this before the amber like really starts to kick in. I wore this to sleep one night, and I was really like enjoying it, and it was on my arm like faintly the next morning, like I kid you not. So this extrait de parfum is pretty strong. Yeah, this is a nice one. Pour de Dessert by Andy Tower. Next up is Jest by Andrea Maack. Now this one got a lot of hype and buzz as the summer was ending and fall was approaching. And it was being presented as this like cozy chocolate, like boozy fragrance. And I'm sorry, it is yummy and delicious. It is. But I just don't get the hype over this fragrance. I've worn this on skin twice to work, so I've had it on me the entire day. To me, this is like a burnt caramel, sugary fragrance. It's very sweet. I have a very, very hard time finding any boozy note. There's rum and chocolate in here. I have a hard time describing this as like a boozy chocolate. I really do. I mean, maybe behind that like caramel, sweet, like burnt sugar, I might get a little nuance of a boozy note, but it's just so overly sweet. It's like deliciously sweet, but it's not chocolatey to me. I just don't perceive chocolate in here. So if you enjoy sweet fragrances, don't get me wrong, it is very yummy smelling. There's like a fluffiness to it, and I can almost envision burnt caramel. But other than sweet caramel, I don't really think this does anything that a lot of the other sweet fragrances out there do. So yeah, that's Andrea Maack's Jest. So next up is Francesca Bianchi's Under My Skin. So I have this on my wrist as well as the tester strip. There's no way that I can talk about this fragrance unless it's on my skin. It's just one of those things. So this is described as leathery, spicy, powdery, woody, aromatic. I think it's meant to represent human intimacy. And I think that's what it does. So to me, it definitely smells a little animalic. I get animalic in here. It is powdery. I think it's like a common theme in Francesca Bianchi's fragrances to have that animalic and also the iris powdery touch. There's something like a little fluffy or like fuzzy about the fragrance in terms of texture, like that's what I'm getting. And then overall, if I had to describe the overall smell that I get here, to me it comes off like a powdery, almost slightly floral, like musty, musky, sweaty body. That's what I get. I get like a musty, like a little sweaty, like a body that's not really sweating, like not a body that just ran 4 or 5 miles or got off the Peloton after 45 minutes, but more a body that's like a little sweaty, like you have like just a little bit of like wetness, like gleaming in the sun kind of thing. It definitely smells intimate. At the same time, I do get like something a little like floral powdery, like really faint. But that's just to my nose because I don't think there's any floral note in the fragrance. And as far as leathery, I'm not getting that. Maybe I'm getting like something fuzzy. So do I like this? I'm not sure that I would want to own a full bottle of this. I have the Dark Side from Francesca Bianchi, and I enjoy that one. That one is a little bit animalic, and it's like an oriental, and it's very rich and deep and dark. This one is like a musty body, like your skin. It's almost like it smells like your skin, but sweaty. So I'm not sure I want to smell like my skin, but sweaty, or that I want to walk around smelling like a body that's been intimate. So I'm not sure about this one. So Francesca Bianchi's Under My Skin. And the last one we're going to talk about today is Jovoy's Remember Me. So I really wanted to get a full bottle of this, and I still may. And the only thing that held me back is that I own Memo Paris Winter Palace, which I feel like is somewhat similar. There are differences, but the similarities are enough where this might be a little redundant in my perfume collection. So this one, like Winter Palace, opens up very citrusy. And then behind the citrus, I start to get the tea. I think this one has a different tea from Memo Paris Winter Palace. I can't remember exactly the difference. I looked it up at one point. And then this one goes into like a creamy, lactonic, like sweeter direction. And Winter Palace instead, I think, stays a little more like a citrus, a tiny bit milky tea fragrance, which I enjoy. I really like it. This is really pretty. I feel like it's really, really like relaxing and creates a very calm, tranquil like atmosphere when I smell this. It's a really relaxing fragrance. I like this. It's pretty, it's clean. It's enveloping and cozy because of the tea. It never really gets too sweet or too lactonic. So the sweetness from the vanilla and tea never really overtake the fragrance. So you still, throughout the entire wear, even though some of the citruses go away at some point, you still really get that it's a tea fragrance. Yeah, this is very pretty and cozy, really relaxing and ethereal almost. So this is Jovoy's Remember Me. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick review of these fragrances. If you have any thoughts or opinions on these fragrances, please feel free to leave comments below. And if you have any recommendations for fragrances that you think that I should test, let me know and I'll do my best to get my nose on them and give some feedback. As always, until next time, bye guys.